Something a little different for you today. It's windy, seriously windy, so I have no idea if you're going to be able to hear anything. But I am up on Drygarn, one of Pembrokeshire's largest, arguably most significant hill forts. The landscape here is absolutely amazing. It's a site where there's only limited excavation work that's been taking place, and that was some time ago. We're talking sort of end of the 19th century. But what work that has been done there, coupled with photography, gives the suggestion or the impression that you've got occupation activity in excess of 200 buildings. It's absolutely remarkable, the numbers that would have been up here. And the general interpretation, of course, is that not many of those buildings would have stood at the exact same time, but it's still, to have that sort of density, occupation, and probably population, is remarkable. One of the things that gives this landscape and this fort its name are these features up ahead. We're going to come up to 3 sets of what are generally interpreted as Bronze Age burial mounds. And this isn't exactly unique. There are other examples of burial mounds inside what later become occupied hill forts, but nonetheless, it makes it an incredibly special feature. The landscape that you're seeing here has been repaired. There's documentation throughout the 20th century of lots of robbing activity coming through. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up, but in front of me at the moment, we've got all these sort of shallow pockmarked features. Whilst this could be quarrying, could also be evidence of occupation places themselves, the sites of people's homes. Towards the edge, one of the ramparts of the site. When we turn around and we come up here, we've got a closer look at the first and the second, and then shortly in a moment we'll come up to the third of the burial mounds. We've got that distinctive trig point up top there. We won't be climbing these. I'm just going to take you a little bit closer just to have a better look at them. Always interesting to find that evidence of combined use, Bronze Age through to Iron Age and then beyond. Those notions of respect and reverence. I mean, if you look at these things, and of course we've already established that there has been rebuilding work on these sites, but nonetheless you are dealing with near permanent additions to the landscape from their point of construction as we look towards the end of the Bronze Age. And this is good building material. You know, depending on whether you had respect or reverence for those who went before, you may well take it upon yourself to think, well, that's pretty good building material. I'll take that. Have that for myself. Make a nice, durable stone roundhouse. But in this instance, the landscape was allowed to survive. And looking beyond, you get an appreciation of the coast and the sea beyond, but also just the value of this location within the landscape. Drygarn is surrounded by other hill forts, as is the way with Pembrokeshire. You're never far away from another viable location or another place in which you'll find Iron Age occupation activity. And I suppose it's always interesting to keep in mind, whilst we remember things like the importance of the recent chariot burial in an unmarked field, that in the landscape beyond us, the spaces between the established parts of the prehistoric landscape, that question mark over what might yet be in the landscape in between. It's a fascinating question to pose. But as it is, we have this wonderful Iron Age landscape worthy of exploration. So I commend you to come up here, have a look. You'll appreciate that I'm the only one up here at the moment. It is amazingly quiet and peaceful as you go in between the burial mounds themselves. You get a further opening of the landscape, wider appreciation of where Drygarn sits within this prehistoric opening. Working your way over the stones down, you get an appreciation of how this site is enclosed much of it by the natural landscape. This would of course have been built up. A little bit earlier today I was looking over some accounts exploring the way in which much of the site had been robbed out. So you can imagine fortifications surrounding this site, great walls, and of course you have the building material for it here. And if you look at the landscape here, this is the landscape of the bluestones, of course. So you have brilliant building material and vast quantities of it. So use the imagination, build up the fortifications here, and you have a very visually impressive fortified settlement. Obviously attractive, but the remarkable thing, of course, is the scale. Compare it to the site that I'm most familiar with at the moment, Castell Hentlis, my second home. There you got evidence for just over 30 buildings, over 300 years of occupation. Here, evidence, at least implied evidence, for over 200 buildings. We don't necessarily have a sense of what the duration of that occupation period is, and in part that's because of the lack of excavation work, but who knows? Let's be optimistic, see what comes in the future. Anyway, I thought I'd just share this little walk with you today. I'm killing a bit of time waiting for a car to be fixed. I thought, Foel Drygarn is not far, let's climb it. And so here we are. Enjoy, and then we'll